Are we going? Cool. Hey everybody. Um, this is not necessarily 1080p, is it? um, anyways, so I would like to talk a little bit about enlightenment. Yesterday, or the day before that, something like that. I went and spoke with a man and heard him give a sangha. Whatever. I don't know all these terms. Whatever. Heard him speak, and and it was good. And apparently, he had experienced enlightenment back in '97. His name is Ananda, I believe, but that's not necessarily the point. It was a pretty good discussion. There was actually it's really funny because there's a lot of things I didn't agree with. I understand his perspective, but it didn't resonate with me at all. And so it's kind of funny, I don't know, to like kind of be like, well, that guy, he's enlightened. Well, I don't think that that's true, but he's enlightened. But who's to say who's enlightened, who's not? Whatever. It's not the point. Point is it made me think of something that's awesome that might help us all on our different spiritual journeys. So here's an exercise some of you might be familiar with, but I figure I'd just share it in case no one has heard it. Um, it's essentially experiencing the observer, as it's called sometimes by some people. Such as, for example, please close your eyes and listen to my voice. And as you hear my voice, obviously the mind is hearing it and is, noticing that it's from, a male voice that's kind of came through puberty, and it's because it's a little deeper and it's English language with an American accent, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yet, what you can do is, as you're listening to my voice, is put your attention on who is actually doing the listening, right? So there's your brain and taking it in and making it make sense. But there is this presence, there is this being, sometimes called the observer, that is listening. And it's pretty much what happens before all this, brain understanding happens, right? So it's like before the judgment happens, essentially. And so, one thing is we can quiet our mind the less internal dialogue we have, and essentially like the less judgment we have on other things, on other people, on other situations. So getting back to this guy who was enlightened, as he says, he described it as being ambivalent to everything. Not apathetic, but just ambivalent. Pretty much just kind of chill with whatever happens and not judging anything, whether good and bad, right or wrong. Cool. Yeah. Okay, that's good, right? Because it slows down like this internal dialogue that we have of just all this like crazy stuff that's going on. So, I believe that his like understanding of his enlightenment is how he's now perhaps just viewing the world from the point of view of the observer, that which is not judgmental, that which is goes with the flow, is in in a permanent state of being, in the permanent state of now. So with that, I think it's awesome if we in order to help our spiritual practice, in order to kind of quiet the mind, to kind of stop judgment, and to be able to maintain, as we try to increase our frequency, as to maintain that higher frequency by just being impervious to being perturbed, um, by existing, and able to act in this third dimension from a perspective and understanding that's a little removed, I guess, from all like the thick of it, a little removed from the drama, right? You're kind of stepping back and observing it. So I think it's a really good thing to do, to try to stop the judgment and try to be in that state of a silent observer as we watch the world go by. And here's a little tip. What helps is perhaps like sunglasses. Right, here's a pair of sunglasses. Um, these aren't that bad. There's actually another pair of sunglasses I was wearing today, and they're very very close to my eyes, and the curvature allowed me to look at everything, but it kind of had kind of like this curvy nature to everything when I looked at everything, right? So I could tell that there's this filtering process, tangible filtering process. Well, that's somewhat of a metaphor, right, for our um, for our minds as being the filtering process through everything that happens. But being in the now and being as the observer, being in that state of just, heightened consciousness that we all, that's in all of us, allows for, you know, uh, not being so attached to everything through the outcome, to kind of having a larger sense of trust in yourself, in your higher selves, and in the consciousness field and God or whatever, right? Letting things flow rather than holding them. So getting back to the sunglasses, anyways. Try that next time you go out and about and are wearing sunglasses. Try to use that as a tool to kind of separate your your mind, your busy mind of of judgment and stuff like that, and using that as a reminder, hey, I am going to try to exist in the world being non-judgmental and from the perspective of the silent observer. And practicing that is pretty incredible, and it frees you up from drama. It allows things to flow much more smoothly, and yeah. So, anyways, maintaining in that state essentially would be from this guy's perspective would be enlightenment. Some might call it unconditional love. You could, or just not caring, whatever. It's but not to fall into apathy. I really wish I could engage a little bit in dialogue and conversation with this, rather than it just being me talking to a camera, because I'd really love to get into this, but I don't necessarily know what kind of questions people would have about maintaining this state, and what's it like, and all the awesomeness that happens by being in this state. So anyways, I highly recommend it, because it's been awesome part of my spiritual practice. And yeah, so try it out, just kind of stepping back and being the observer. And it's an excellent way to live life, I feel. So anyways, namaste, and I don't know, keep meditating and following your excitement, and just getting excited every day. Alright, I love you.